In what is most likely going to go down as the best grand finals of all time, we got to see both NA and EU come down to the very final game and an absolute poetic finish for Peterbot's FNCS win streak coming at the hands of his old duo. Hitting 100,000 subscribers would be like winning FNCS to me. So if you guys want to help me to be able to win FNCS, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. Without further ado though, let's start off this absolutely crazy grand finals by talking about the team in first place of Agers, Acorn, and Poyo. These guys were able to finish with 922 points. They only won 1 out of the 12 total games, but they finished grand finals with 100 total elims and an average placement of 4.5, which is just literally absolutely insane. They did not have a single bad game today. They got a 9 elimination 6, 7 elimination 3rd, 6 elimination 3rd, 7 elimination 6, 3 elimination 8th, and a 10 elimination 4th. This whole season, everybody was focused on the Peterbot storyline, on is he going to win grands by over 200 points. Grand finals is going to be so boring because Peterbot's just going to dominate, and the trio of Agers, Acorn, and Pollo just came out of absolutely nowhere, and Pollo has officially completed his own 4P, winning his 4th straight grand finals now. I want to quickly talk about Acorn and Poyo. Both of these guys have been so disrespected by so many people in the Fortnite community. They say, oh, the only reason why Acorn could ever win FNCS was because he was carried by cold. And then for Pollo, it was always, he just gets backpacked by Peterbot and he is nothing without Peter. And how cinematic is it that the way they are able to win their first grand finals without them, they end up doing it with each other and they take down their ex-teammates who so many people thought were unstoppable, proving that they really are just that good. In second place though, what an effort from the trio of Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot. They finished with 908 points, so only 14 points behind Pollo's trio. They were able to win 2 out of the 12 games as well, finish the tournament with the most total elims, getting 112 total elims. Now on day 2, they had some very good games, but they also just had 2 bad games, and when Acorn's trio is playing so consistent every game, not having a single dud game, it is just not going to be enough. They got a 14 elimination win, 9 elimination 4th, and then their 2 bad games, then a 14 elimination 2nd, and a 16 elimination win. You know we're going to be talking more about Peterbot later on in this video. I honestly did not expect this at all. These guys won every single Cash Cup, 5 straight Cash Cup wins, won the first game of their group stage, qualified straight into grand finals, and then somehow, some way, they were not able to get the job done. That is just not something I thought I would be saying right now. And of course, who else would it be except for Pollo of all people to end their dominant run? Finishing in 3rd place, getting his best ever FNCS placement, the trio of Clix, Batman, Boog, and Iamzo, finishing with 736 points. So happy for Clix, man. The 4th place curse has finally been broken, and after I think this is like 6 years of him competing now, this is his official best ever FNCS grand finals placement. They finished with 736 points, were able to win 1 out of the 12 games as well, and if anybody had concerns of their fragging ability, they finished with the 4th most elims in the entire tournament. They were playing out of their minds today. They played far better today than yesterday. They got an 8 elimination 2nd, 1 elimination 9th, 8 elimination 4th, 7 elimination win, 3 elimination 5th, and a 5 elimination 7th. They did not have a single game outside of the top 10 today, and I guess if you are Clix, you could be a little bit sad because if you guys didn't know, it is only the top 2 trios that actually qualified to the global championships from this season. So Clix has unfortunately not qualified for LAN yet, but I have no doubt that this trio will be able to in the future now. I did have some doubts about this team. I predicted them to finish in 4th, so they did outdo my expectations. Huge shout out to these guys all around. They played absolutely insane. 4th place is Vidal, Cooper, and Sphinx on 703 points. They were also able to win 2 out of the 12 games total. I don't want to see people saying that this was a disappointing team. If you just go back to the beginning of the season, Vidal literally had no options on EU, so he was forced to move over to NA after getting dropped by his old trio, formed with Cooper and Sphinx, who a lot of people saw Cooper as a player that was starting to decline in his career, and they just placed 4th place in their first grand finals together. Huge shout out to these guys. Super impressive stuff as always. I hope Vidal is going to stay on NA for the rest of the year because this is definitely a LAN quality team. 5th place was Muzz, Rise, and Yapko on 685. 6th place was Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts on 682. 7th place was actually Aviv Booga in Threats on 628 points. Huge shout out to Booga, man. He's clearly not taking the game as serious anymore, and he is still able to pull off top 10s in grand finals. 8th place was Noxy Virgo and Curly on 576. And then there was almost a 200 point gap between 8th and 9th, with Shadow Curve and Tyler finishing in 9th, and then the Unk squad of Cease, Jack, and Blake rounding out the top 10. Some other big names that we had just outside of that top 10 is like Visuals of Braids and Diminished in 11th, Quanti Bila and Edgy in 12th, Death Sales and Encrypted in 13th, and then Bucky, Ocus, and Craze finished in 15th place. Let's talk about the final kin stats now for both damage dealt and the stat leaders. Starting off with in 10th place for the most damage dealt is Yamzo, 9th was Bolts, 8th was Yapko, 7th Fadil, 6th was Pollo. Going into the top 5 is 5th of Kanata, 4th of Cold, 3rd of Threats, and then the two people that are head and shoulders above everybody else is 2nd of Agers, and then in 1st place getting 20,770 damage was none other than Peterbot. If we go over the stat leaders too, it is just a wall of Peterbot's name. For damage, it's Peter. Elims, it's Peter. Assist is Peter. Damage ratio is Agers. Damage per minute is Peter. Builds is Sphinx. Farmed is Rapid. Distance is Muzz. Storm time is Max. And then shotgun damage is Peter. And AR damage is Peterbot as well. I've been trying to show love to Pollo, Acorn, and Agers all video long, but we still cannot ignore the fact that this was one of the greatest grand finals performances all time from Peterbot. I think he is still pretty comfortably the best player in the entire world, but somehow, some way, it still just was not enough to take home that first place spot. Before we move over to EU, let's talk about how my predictions actually went. I was able to correctly predict 9 out of the top 10 trios inside of the top 10. My biggest misses, I will 100% say that me putting Acorn, Poyo, and Agers in 5th place was definitely a very bad call for me. I majorly disrespected these guys, so I will admit my wrongs there, and they will 100% be a top 2 trio for me going into the future now. And then the only team I wasn't able to correctly predict inside the top 10 was Mason, Donnie, and Chance. They did get surprise con though, so I guess they do have a little bit of an excuse. This was a generational NA Grand Finals, and let's actually move on to how EU went now. Now, the finish on EU was absolute cinema. This was one of the best EU Grand Finals I have ever watched, and it came down to the very final game where it was a 4-person race to who could take home the crown, and the winners ended up being the trio of Vico, Vino, and Flixie. Now, these guys finished with 673 points total, winning grand finals by almost 30 points. They had such an insane day too. They were able to win 4 out of 12 games total in this tournament. If we just go over their match history from today, it was a 15 elimination win, 2 elimination 18th, 5 elimination 6th, 11 elimination win, 6 elimination 18th, and then a 2 elimination 19th in their very final game. They had a very comfortable lead going into last game, and I don't want to necessarily say they choked away the final game, but that is just the downside that comes with this team's play style, is they are not going to be as consistent as some of the other teams in this tournament. But then the thing that separates them from everybody else and why they are the best trio in EU is because they can get more eliminations than almost any other trio in the world. They finished the tournament with 83 total elims, which was 12 more than second place. Such an insane performance from these guys. We even got a super wholesome tweet from Vino where he shouted out his teammates of Vico and Flixie, and he said that Vico is the best player in the world. He has the clutch gene, and if he's able to calm down a little bit, he'll be able to be an 8-time FNCS champion. He also shouts out Flixie and gives credit to Raz. I am just so happy for this trio. Vino is now officially a 3-time FNCS winner, and Vico and Flixie are back-to-back EU FNCS champions. From all of the drama we had at the beginning of the season when Vino was potentially going to play with Peterbot and Cold, to him deciding to stay on EU and play with Vico and Flixie, just such a cool full circle moment for them to now be arguably the best trio in the world and booking their ticket to LAN. We also got the win reaction for both Vico and Flixie, so let's check those out real quick.
Yeah. Vico, big Vico. FNCS Winner.
Ich heul gar nicht, Digga.
Doch, komm her.
Ich heul gar
Ja, du weißt gar nicht. Ja, geil. Jetzt Big Tweet, not even close. Soll ich jetzt Winner Graphic schon posten? Not even close? Oh.
The other trio that has secured their spot at the Global Championships in France is none other than Ping, Wox, and Malibuca. These guys were able to finish with 648 points. They did not win a single one of the 12 games either. Still just an absolutely insane performance from this team. From struggling majorly at the beginning of the season to just slowly getting better with time, showing that if you do just stick with your team and try to improve together, anything really is possible. And for them only being 30 points away from an FNCS championship, it's still just such a successful season for them. Third place is another trio I want to give a huge shout out to, Vanya, Pixie, and Marius. I mean, hey, I said all season long they were the third best team going into FNCS, and they finished in exactly third place. You know that they are probably a little disappointed that they finished in third place after being in first on day one. But I mean, these guys literally had to qualify out of the last chance qualifiers just to be able to get a spot in grand finals. So I think they should still be super happy about a top 3. Only being one spot off of land definitely does hurt, but I 100% think that they'll be able to qual land pretty easily next season. Fourth place is a trio and players I want to give huge credit to as well, of Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache. They finished with 608 points and were able to win 2 out of the 12 games as well, and tied for the second most elims in the entire tournament with 71 elims. I tweeted out that Queasy finishing in 4th place while being contested for every single game, and even still just having an opportunity to win at the very end. It's just such an insane performance. He really is the best IGL that Fortnite has ever seen, in my opinion. I feel like he definitely is the player that always has his back up against the wall, the most pressure on him to perform. So many different things go against him every single time, whether it's him being contested or he doesn't have a very good drop spot and no one really believes in him, and he is always just able to pull off insane performances time and time again. We did see Queasy go on a little bit of a Twitter rant, but he also said that he did get his passion back now and he wants to win so badly again. So it is about to be scary hours for the rest of EU now, because there is just so many good teams now, and I am just even more excited for next season. 5th place, finishing with 572 points in their first ever grand finals, is Pix, Darm, and Demas. Now I remember hyping up Darm and Demas back when they played duos together, and then they were able to pick up Pix and place top 5 in all 3 of their first ever grand finals. This is just almost unheard of, especially for doing this on a region like EU. These guys are all young, up and coming goats, and the future is really so bright for them, and the possibilities are endless. These guys could 100% be future FNCS winners one day. 6th place, I feel like, is one of the most underrated teams in this entire tournament, of Country, Finnick, and Upple. They finished with 523 points today, and they were the most consistent team on all of EU, getting an average placement of 7.7. Now, they were the team with the least amount of elims in the entire top 10, but they just have that consistent playstyle where they're going to make it into endgame and get top 8s every single game, basically. Huge shout out to these guys. I think the biggest comeback team of the day was definitely Trulex, Chicho, and Tayson, finishing in 7th place today. They were in 14th after day 1, so them almost being able to bring themselves into a top 5 is still super impressive. I would say it is a little bit of a disappointing tournament for Tayson still though, because this team was quite literally built for grand finals. Like, you have one of the smartest players in the whole game, a top 3 player of all time in Tayson, and 2 of the best surge getters on the entire region on the same trio, and they were still over 100 points outside of the top 5. Hopefully they're able to lock in next season and secure their spot into LAN. And then in 8th place is a team that I want to give huge credit to, of Mr. Savage, Mongraal, and Panzer. Now, honestly, in every single one of the predictions I've seen, and even in my own predictions as well, I was hesitant to put these guys inside of my top 10, but even in that video, I said this is their FNCS. If they ever want to prove to people that they can be a top 10 trio in the region, this is the FNCS to do that, and that is exactly what they did. They were able to finish with 441 total points and win 1 out of the 12 games as well. If we look at their match history from today, they played so much better today than yesterday, getting a 5 elimination 15th, 6 elimination 5th, 7 elimination 4th, 3 elimination 7th, 0 elimination 17th, and then a 3 elimination 18th. If they cleaned up some of the stuff from their final 2 games, they had a real possibility of finishing in top 5 in grand finals, which is honestly just such impressive stuff from this team all around. We are going to highlight Panzer even more because Panzer is slowly becoming one of the most underrated players in all of EU. And if I am Mr. Savage and Mongraal, I am doing everything possible to make sure that Panzer does not leave this trio. This is literally a live developing story right now. We got a tweet from Panzer that says looking for one with Mr. Savage. Then we even had Mr. Savage tweet out, it's been a good run, and he posted a picture of him and Mongraal together. And the rumor right now is that Mongraal is quitting, because I just feel like a lot of us could not see a real possibility of Mr. Savage actually dropping Mongraal. But then Mongraal also literally said at the end of his stream that he's just going on vacation for a little bit and he's not quitting the game. So I really have no clue what is going on right now. And if I get any more updates, I'll leave it in the pinned comment down below. But I think we're just gonna have to wait until Mr. Savage goes live again to explain the whole situation. 9th place, I'm not gonna lie, this team 100% choked in day 2. It is the trio of iDrop, Sky, and Scroll. They finished with 431 points. And I mean, going from top 3 day 1 to finishing barely top 10 is definitely a very disappointing performance from these guys. Hopefully they're able to learn from this grand finals though. Sky and Scroll are still such young players, and there is still so much room for improvement for the future for this trio. And then rounding out the top 10 was CZB, Eclipse, and Nathan. Such a stacked top 10 as always. If we go over some of the other big names that just finished outside that top 10, we have like Pink, Nebs, and Chino in 12th, Chap, Yanis, and Noah Riley in 15th. Very disappointing FNCS grants from them all around. If I had to give out the most disappointing team on all of EU, I think I would definitely give it to Chap's trio. We know that they are capable of so much more, and a 15th place is nowhere near what they should be. 16th place was Christini and Skavi on 363. Seti, Hari, and Cammy finished in 21st, so they were able to go from, I'm pretty sure, like 30 something day 1 to 21st after day 2. We know they literally were contested 12 out of 12 in this tournament, and the trio that was contesting them of Akira, Podesai, and X-Sweets finished in 26th place. I am very confident that if Seti, Hari, and Cammy are able to get uncon for all of next season, they will 100% be a top 3 grand finals team. But this is now just back-to-back grand finals now that if they are contested, you really just cannot put your faith in them. Let's get on to the final kin stats now for the most damage dealt in EU. Starting off with in 10th place on 10,905 damage is Marius. 9th is Vino. 8th is Walk. 7th is Ping. 6th is Tayson. Going into the top 5 is Eclipse in 5th, Chicho in 4th, Vico in 3rd, Panzer in 2nd, and then Merstash in 1st with 13,588. So honestly, huge shout out to the entire top 3. I think they have a real argument for being like 3 of the best players in this entire grand finals. Vico played out of his mind this whole tournament. Panzer played out of his mind this whole tournament. And Merstash has an argument for being one of the best fraggers in the entire world. What an insane grands all around. Before we conclude this video, of course, we have to look at how my predictions went. I'll put them up on the screen right here. I was able to go 7 out of 10 on correctly predicting the top 10. My order, I'm not gonna lie, was pretty messed up. I think my biggest misses definitely had to be like iDrop, Sky, and Scroll in 2nd, and Cammy, Seti, and Hari in 7th. Also, my Shark, Zhu, and Zandy pick was pretty horrid, I'm not gonna lie. I did put Mr. Savage, Mongraal, and Panzer in my honorable mentions, so I probably should have just bumped them up into my top 10. But let me know what you guys actually ended up predicting in the comment section down below. Remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we are less than 500 subs away from 95,000 subscribers. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. YouTube says don't enjoy one of these 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Follow me on my Twitter at KDOG to keep up to date with everything to do with Fortnite competitive. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.